What's good, everybody? It's Mr. Composition and MC that writes fiction back at it with another video. I hope you're having a good new year whenever you're checking this out, and that your 2024 was awesome and your 2025 is a banger. We're gonna end this year out with some fantastic hip hop. So how Kendrick Lamar just ended Drake's rap career for good, for good. Oh, snap. But if you're new to the channel, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, notification bells on so you don't miss when I drop a new video on the road to 5K. Thank y'all so much this year for the support. Let's go ahead and dive into it.
Now, when it comes to Drake in this moment, well, there has been so much conversation about where his crash out and what his downfall is meaning at this point, as we are about to enter a new year and Drake is leaning further into things that are just anti-hip hop in every way possible. Even with all of this said, and Drake being way more interested in hanging out with streamers than he is with rappers, he is still pretending to care about his music career because over everything else, Drake still has a confirmed album with his fellow OVO member Party Next Door releasing. But now, with this said, during Drake's Drizmas event, between all the other humiliating moments that showed us that he is not over the Kendrick Lamar beef one bit, Drake also said that his collab album with P&D was ready to release on December 6th, but for some reason did not. And while when Drake was talking about this, he made it act like the main motive in doing this was to perfect the project and to overall have it have a greater release. With the recent work ethic Drake has been showing he has, I think we all know that that's a clear and bold-faced lie. And even further than that, when we look at why Drake would move his release date when it comes to putting this out into the world, we can also figure out that because of none other than Kendrick Lamar and his album GNX. With all the success that record's been having, it made Drake more scared to...
No, definitely. That for sure. If that is true as far as when Drake was supposed to release it, then yeah, and the thing is that you would think, you would think with everything that happened to Drake this year, that he would go for a solo album. He's doing all these different collab albums, and it's just all like, now's your chance to stand on your own or with your ghostwriters, whatever, and do something that is you. I feel like by him dropping the collab project and him hyping it up and him going that route, I just think that it was a bad move on his end. But it's just like, this is a continuous thing about Drake recently, is him continuing to make these really, really, really bad moves. Am I tripping? Like, let me know in the comments. Like, I feel like he should have either not released the project at all, which it doesn't seem like he is. It's the last day of the year. Or he should have just did a solo project. Like, it doesn't make any sense for him to do Party Next Door and Party Next Door getting flame broiled as well, and all of this. It's just all like, that was, to me, just not a smart move, a business move, artist move. Like, there's no way that that just makes any sense. So to add on top of that, Kendrick dropping his album, and this is where, again, he could have showed and proved. This is where, and this is how Drake knows that he lost. Because if he would have dropped after Kendrick, all you Drake stands out there, this is where Drake would have potentially won the quote unquote war. This is how you know Kendrick won the war, not the battle, the war. Because Drake could have dropped an album. He could have dropped a solo album to compete with Kendrick, and with everyone that's a Drake stan saying like, oh, well, Drake outsells, da-da-da-da. This would have been the time to show and prove for that. But he didn't. And I think he knew that he would poorly perform, and that would be another L, another one. You know what I mean? So it's just a bad move altogether.
Now, when it comes to Drake in this moment, well, there has been so much conversation about where he's more scared to step into music's biggest arena than he ever has been. And now, beyond Kendrick Lamar putting an album out right before Drake was going to, even
Yeah.
beyond its initial release and first few weeks, the impact this album is having on the entire industry is putting Drake in a position where releasing his new album is bound to destroy whatever is left of his legacy. And now, before we get any further into why this is, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And so now with Drake, despite him trying to deceive all of us by saying that this record he is coming out next is one of the projects he is the most proud of in his entire career and that he can't wait to put it out, I mean, we all know this is not the truth, because aside from Drake just putting off actually dropping and doing anything to build hype for the album properly beyond saying a few words and comments here and there, if Drake really believed this record was going to do anything to save his career, and knowing the way he has made moves in the past, he would have dropped it against any artist on the schedule, even including Kendrick Lamar and GNX, if he actually believed that when going album against album, his songs could outchart and outperform everything that was on Kendrick's project. But now with Drake backing down from even wanting to mess with Kendrick during what would have been going into GNX's third week of tracking, which now, considering that GNX had the most successful album release this year when it comes to records that were just released on streaming and did not have singles or physical albums put out in stores and ready to ship, and just capturing how successful that was with the record having all of its songs charting in the third week, which is the first album of all time to ever do that. Overall, Drake being scared seems like it was the right choice for him, because he knew that if he put out a record during any time while Kendrick was still dominating the charts in a way where he was literally setting records, it would have been seen as a desperate move and something that was only solidifying the type of win Kendrick has had over him in not just their back and forth, but in hip-hop and the music industry as a whole. And with Drake making this album a collab with Party Next Door, and with its purpose of not just being a comeback album from everything Drake has been through, but also for him to lean into his city's roots more than he ever has on one project, Drake now running and trying to lean into what his city stands for musically after Kendrick won the beef, with one of the main points being that he runs everywhere but where he's from, overall would have just been a terrible look. But now, what's so genius about this situation, whether it was intended on Kendrick's end by putting it out in this time or not, is that with Kendrick dropping GNX right in the end of November and having its success dominate the rest of the music world for the entirety of 2024 and seemingly for the beginning of next year, he hasn't just taken control of the charts with an entire collection of songs that has made Drake push back an entire record, but now with Drake not dropping because of Kendrick and all of this, because of the current state of his career and where the music industry is going as well. Now for Drake to be able to release this album that he is hoping will be able to give him more time until his ultimate downfall, and that will be able to give his image just a little bit of positivity in this time where he can't seem to catch any sort of wins. Kendrick has now made Drake's comeback effort harder to happen than ever, and really what the lesson Drake is going to end up learning from this ultimately is that he should have actually just put work into his music career and tried to release something genuinely great as soon as Kendrick Lamar started to ruin his image like we have never seen at this point. Because where we are at now, things are getting too late. Because with this version of Drake currently, where his songs are hardly charting, his reputation has never been in a worse place, and the hype for his new music is at an all-time low. Even after GNX is finally entering weeks where it is not selling over 100,000 copies, which has taken over a month to happen, which is still historic for hip-hop. Drake couldn't drop this project at the end of the year because he would have had to go against one of the other biggest musical stars on the planet right now, and who is not just a part of Kendrick Lamar's Top Dog Entertainment label, but who's also the person who is about to go on an entire stadium tour with him in none other than SZA.
You know, what's interesting is apparently SZA had fired Punch, which I thought was interesting. I'm thinking that SZA might actually go to PG Lane. Before we get into that, this video is sponsored by me. Hey, if you want to dive into new music, I have a catalog. Yeah, these are not singles. These are albums. But more recently this year, I did release an album called Tame Chaos. So you can listen, stream, download, purchase, all of that in the link in the description. And just, check it out, because I want to see if people are actually seeing this and going to the site. So anyways, that's just a random theory about it. I don't know, but it's very, very interesting. When it comes to Drake, this is also interesting because how are you going to put out anything with the label that you're going to basically war with? And that might have been a way for him to excuse him not putting it out music. It could be like, hey, this is the label's not letting me release any music, da 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 da, and he might be able to lean on that, but still, it just all looks bad. It just all looks bad when you could have, like Fantastic Hip Hop said, just put the effort into the music. You should have dropped the solo project. You should have dropped the solo project, and you should have went toe to toe, album to album with Kendrick. Would he have won? No, but it could have been. Like if he would have just been like, yo, I'm just gonna focus on great music, there's a possibility that he could have had several bangers, but I don't know. Kendrick made history by having every freaking track on an album hit the billboard. It's fucking insane. That's insane. So I don't know. It's very, very interesting with even with the direction that Drake is going with the Party Next Door album. It's crazy that this could be true. Kendrick might have just destroyed Drake's rap career. Does it mean his music career? No, because uh, according to him, this Party Next Door is the most proud project that he's worked on, and according to him, there's really not a lot of rap in it or hip hop. So I'm not, it's just a interesting move, and I'm curious to see what's going to go down in 2025. I mean, it started off very interested. I saw this video and I was like, dang, he made it before I did. But I was thinking about this because I was all like, yo, Yasin Bey, aka Mos Def, predicted this at the beginning of the year. And even just looking back at that interview, I'm just all like, yo, this is wild. So I'm curious to see, Cat Williams, Most Def did their little predictions, and it ended up being crazy for this year, said 2024. So what's gonna go down in 2025? Let me know in the comments what y'all think. And do y'all think Drake should have just went with a solo album or not have, talked about releasing at all? Let me know. It's Mr. Composition MC that writes fiction. Back at it with another reaction. Make sure you like, subscribe, notification bells on so you don't miss when I drop a new video. On the road to 5K. Happy New Year's. Let's get it 2025. Peace.